Welcome back to Mini Movies. Today I will explain an adventure-action comedy film from 1992 titled Sidekicks. In the first scene, the bad guy is holding a woman hostage. The hero enters in an all-white suit and defeats the entire army of villains. He is assisted in battle by a sidekick, who wears the same suit. In the end, he saves the day by rescuing the distressed damsel, with the help of his sidekick. When the hero removes his mask, we can see that he is none other than reputed actor Chuck Norris, and Barry is his young sidekick. The fight was only a dream, when Barry woke up in his classroom. He suffers an asthma attack, as a result of the teasing he receives from his classmates. Barry is a shy boy with asthma, who has always been picked on at school. Barry spends his days making up fantasies in his head, most of which involve him being Chuck Norris's sidekick and having human strength and confidence qualities that he lacks in reality. Most of the time, he likes to imagine fighting his real-life bullies to protect his favorite teacher Noreen, who is concerned about Barry's frequent daydreams and weakening attention span. She speaks with his father after school, and the two of them decide to enroll Barry in karate lessons. He can do this to keep himself occupied and gain practical fighting abilities. They go to Kelly Stone, a rude dojo owner. The man compares himself to Chuck Norris and brags about his commitments to the sport. He also criticizes the other karate instructors and believes he is superior to them all. Knowing that the man is a bad master, Barry and his father leave. Noreen learns about the unsuccessful meeting. Her uncle, Mr. Lee, will soon come to the US to work in the restaurant that her family owns. She thinks he will be the best teacher for Barry because he is a lot like Mr. Lee. Then Mr. Lee is introduced. He is in the subway station, when a man uses a racial epithet against him. In response, Mr. Lee uses one of his many tricks to set his jacket on fire. Barry meets Mr. Lee at his restaurant, later that day to begin his first lesson. The following day, he must walk to school, then gradually progress to running. Mr. Lee wants Barry to build up his endurance because working him too hard could make his asthma worse. While Barry and Mr. Lee are talking in the kitchen, Noreen and Barry's father are dining outside. Since losing his wife 10 years ago, Mr. Gabrielski has also been single. Noreen appears to be interested in him. Lee is called in to deal with the situation, when some thugs enter the restaurant and begin to cause trouble. He acts drunk while beating the thugs. Up until this point, Barry had been hesitant to learn how to fight, but now he is eager to do so. He walks to school the following day, but gets diverted by another daydream. He and Chuck Norris are acting as soldiers this time, saving Noreen from terrorists. Before Barry goes back to reality, they do crazy things and kill everyone who is against them. Lauren, a friend of Barry's, offers to drive him there, but Barry declines. Barry's situation is known to Lauren, and she is very worried about him. Randy, a popular student, is asked a question by the history teacher in class, and he is made fun of for not knowing the answer. Randy is further humiliated when Barry gives the right response a minute later. As a result, after class is over, the bully knocks Barry to the ground and tells him to stay away from the popular kids. Barry is surrounded by everyone, but nobody has the courage to oppose Randy. Instead, they take his side and abuse him. Randy finds a Chuck Norris magazine on the ground and tears it. He claims that Lauren only has a friendship with Barry because she feels bad for him, before walking away. Barry is sad and angry about what happened. He devotes all of his anger to training and picks up the basics on the first day. He needs to breathe frequently due to his asthma, but he keeps trying. In the next scene, Barry is sitting on the sidelines of gym class, while everyone else is working out. Once again, he gets lost in his imagination. This time, Chuck is a cowboy called the Lone Wolf, and Barry is his sidekick, the Little Wolf. They go to a pub for drinks, where the waitress Noreen is being harassed by bad cowboys. Chuck and Barry save her again by beating up the bad thugs. Barry's gym teacher yells at him for not paying attention, and pulls him out of his daydream. He is instructed to climb a rope as punishment. Everyone in the class is prepared to make fun of Barry, because they all recall that he is the least athletic of them all. He shocks everyone by succeeding, though. He walks home with Lauren after school. Barry uses this time to tell Lauren that he likes her, but Lauren says she only sees him as a friend. This proves that Randy was right. Lauren is only friends with Barry, because she feels sorry for him. Barry is sad, so he runs to his house, which gives him an asthma attack and makes him dream that his gym teacher is suffocating him with chains. In this dream, his gym teacher is the bad guy. When Barry wakes up, he's in an ambulance on its way to the hospital. Lee and Noreen come to check on him. The doctor says that Barry's lungs look fine, which is why she's surprised by the attack. Lee seems to know what's going on, and puts a special ointment on Barry's chest. Over time, it helps the kid a lot. They also slow down Barry's training and make sure he gets a lot of rest. For more energy, he must consume an odd medicine 4 times per day. By the end of the week, he wants to enroll in the gym class because it works so well. The teacher initially refuses, because he fears that he will visit the hospital once more, but when Barry insists, the teacher is forced to give in. The next day, Noreen, Gabrielski, Lee, and Barry are all together, and Noreen showcases her karate skills. She has been practicing since she was a child. When they are alone, Gabrielski is impressed by how good she is at fighting. She teaches him some of her moves, which brings them closer together, but they don't get too close. One day, Lee and Barry talk for a long time about Barry's daydreams. Lee tells him to try and control his thoughts, because if he has fewer daydreams, those he does have would be more intense, and could become real. As time goes on, Barry gets stronger while training. He even starts to hit his master hard, which warns Lee to be careful. Lee notices that Barry has gotten rid of his inhaler, which shows how much stronger he has become. In the meantime, his classmates don't know that he's grown so much, so Randy made the fatal mistake of calling him names. Barry defends himself this time and responds with insults. Because of this, Randy attacks him, but he fights back, which surprises everyone. A fight breaks out between the two, but Randy, who is also learning karate, puts up a strong fight. Their gym teacher eventually steps in to stop the fight. Later, Lauren comes up to Barry and compliments his fighting skills. She also asks him out on a date to the zoo on the weekend, and Barry happily agrees, forgetting that she had just dumped him not long before. In the next scene, Barry is having another of his daydreams. He is currently engaged in a drug warehouse raid with Chuck Norris. Noreen betrayed the gang, so the villain is now holding her hostage once more. They're hiding drug pouches inside piñatas. Suddenly, there's an explosion, and then Chuck Norris comes in with a bang. The gangster tells his men to get him, but before they can, there's another explosion. This time, Barry, Chuck's sidekick, comes in, and there's a shootout. Strangely, Barry kills more people and is braver than Chuck, which even surprises the imaginary Chuck. When they go to save Noreen after defeating the enemies, they discover that she has transformed into Lauren. Chuck asks Barry how this is possible, and Barry tells him that it's his dream, and he's the main character in it. He has finally mastered the ability to control and shape his thoughts. Randy challenges Barry to a formal fight in a karate competition the following day at school. Barry initially doubts his ability to succeed, but the master convinces him to participate after encouraging him to do so. He trains even harder than usual for the following week. Up until now, he had been training to build up his endurance. Now, he is training to fight and defend himself. When the day of the tournament comes, it's not what he expected. Barry isn't nervous at all, so he's asked to watch a karate demonstration before the match, so he can have fun while he's away. Noreen signs them up for the team, but it turns out that the tournament is a 4-person competition. She and Lee can join Barry, but they'll still be missing one member. She tries to talk to the organizers, but they are set on the rules. As Lee and Noreen discuss how upset the child will be, they overhear a girl mentioning Chuck Norris. It turns out that he is a karate champion, and has come to enjoy the competition as well. As Lee runs to the actor elsewhere with an idea, Chuck encounters the arrogant Stone, a karate expert. Stone mocks Chuck and calls him a loser for no longer participating in tournaments, as is typical of him. Stone is confident that he would win hands down if they were allowed to fight right now. Lee wants Chuck to join their team and help them win, even though Noreen thinks it's a crazy idea. He insists that Noreen take a chance and talk to the superstar, which she does. In the next scene, Barry is observing a karate demonstration. When he turns around, he is shocked to see Chuck actually sitting next to him. Even though Barry is too starstruck to speak, they introduce themselves. Barry's dream comes true, when Chuck asks him to work together in the next competition, and Barry doesn't waste a second before saying yes. In the first round, Noreen participates in the demonstration and comes in second. The second round is a brick-breaking round, and Lee goes up to the stage, to ask for another brick to be added to the pile. He surprises everyone, because no one thinks an old man like him can succeed. The third round is a nunchaku demonstration. Barry gets on stage nervously and begins his performance. Suddenly, he finds himself back in his dream world, where he imagines himself demonstrating excellent nunchaku handling skills. He ends up doing the same thing in real life, which gets him applause from the crowd. In the next round, Chuck fights Stone, and shows that Stone is all talk and no action. He lands every punch and blocks all of Stone's attacks, driving him crazy until he finally finishes him off with a powerful blow. But in the end, both Stone's team and Barry's team have 36 points, so the winners will be decided by a tiebreaker. Barry and Randy will engage in a brick-breaking competition as the tiebreaker. In the first round, they both break every single brick, so the second round is harder because the stack is higher. Before Barry's turn, Randy attempts to break them all but is unsuccessful. Lee instructs Randy to recall everything he has been taught up to this point, and gather all of his energy by following his advice. Barry takes out the whole stack with one hit, giving his team the win. In the final scene, Chuck and Barry are talking about the tournament, and the kid thanks to his hero. Now that his obsession with his fantasy has materialized into reality, he has finally let go of it. If you liked this video, you will also like the video appearing on screen. Click on it to watch. We upload new movies daily. Make sure to subscribe, so you don't miss any video. If you liked the movie, consider sharing it with your friends. Show that you care about them. Thanks for watching.